Hey, hey guys,
What's up,
welcome.
everybody? Welcome back to the mix. We are Tina and Kai at Talk Mix, and we're so
Yeah,
excited. So excited for this one.
we're
Um,
we have two special guests with us
yes,
today when we are going to review the Netflix film Finding Ohana. So come right back and
come
we'll
right
get
back.
started.
Aloha, aloha,
Aloha.
aloha. How is everybody? We are so excited. So, what we have today, like Tina mentioned before, I actually have really close friends and my adorable niece. And I'm going to introduce her now. Her name is actually Reiko Aquin. Her mom is actually my first cousin. So she is the one thing I love about this niece is she is so perfectly comedically timed in everything she says. Like I love everything about her sarcasm, her love, and she loves a lot. She loves hard. And so I'm excited to have her on the show with us. She agreed to come on and she's going to help us review Finding Ohana. So this is Reiko. And next, I have so this friend is like we've known each other like we've always crossed paths because we've both had dance companies. He's always he's the better side of me when it comes to dancing, and he has long hair. I'm jealous of that. But his name is Anthony. So Anthony actually lives in New York, and as you can see, I'm totally excited to have both of them. And then, of course, you guys know me and Tina.
Yes.
So we are gonna get started. Um, so finding Ohana.
Yes, I
Um,
told Kai, I was like, look, they have a Hawaiian like Goonies, like a remake,
right,
and because one of the original cast members is in this movie. He has a cameo, and I just thought, hey, this would be kind of like a fun Hawaiian go see back to the islands movie that you might like. So I suggested it, and then he's like, Tina, I got something to say to you about this movie, and I'm like, I want to hear it.
so basically, and we're gonna go through a lot, but I found this movie to be one of the most offensive culturally, and I just thought it's still perceived as Hollywood sees the Hawaiian people, the Hawaiian culture, and the Hawaiian lifestyle. So, but first of all, I did want to ask my friend, because he lives in New York, what did you think of the whole city shots? And are there a lot of Hawaiians in New York?
Okay, so when you say city shots, you mean like in New York City, city shots?
Yeah, like when they were doing those shots, was that New York?
Yeah, I can
Like,
I can definitely see that being areas of New York City, but I don't recall there being anything. Um, Actually, it didn't stand out to me any
gotcha,
particular shots of the city that were like, oh yeah, this is New York City. But they were more
gotcha.
focused, obviously, on the hunts that the Pili was doing with
Right,
her
the
friend.
cache.
hmm hmm
Yes,
The
Yeah.
geocaching.
geocaching.
But yeah, so I don't remember. I can't remember if anything stood out to me as far as shots of the city, but I feel like they could have done some pretty amazing shots,
Yeah,
of the city.
yeah, but it was based in New York, wasn't it? Like, weren't they in New York when
Uh,
in the story? I mean, in the story, is in
Yeah,
the
in the
oh yeah,
story.
yeah.
story.
In the
Yeah.
story, it's
So
yeah,
they
they're
are
definitely
based
in
in
New
New York,
York. Yeah, definitely. It starts in New York.
right?
But I
So,
wasn't I
do
wasn't
you see a lot of
surprised.
Hawaiians in New York, though, Anthony? Are there a lot? Because I know you try to push the cultural awareness over there. Like, what do you think about that?
You know, you're not gonna run into somebody from Hawaii on the regular, that's for sure. Not like if you were in California, you're probably gonna see somebody in Walmart or somewhere shopping, but here, no. But surprisingly, I mean, not that I'm a facts person, I'm just working on a project right now that had me look up the U.S. Census for Polynesians or Pacific Islanders in New
Uh-huh.
York, and it said that there are 37,000 Pacific Islanders in New York, and I'm like,
Wow, where are
where?
they?
Because
Where?
we've been trying to meet them all this time, and then where is all the programming and all the funding to support programming for Pacific Islanders here in the city? Like,
Right.
so yeah, interesting.
In the
Wow.
movie, they mistake Pele. She says, "I have to had to pretend to be Puerto Rican and learn Spanish because nobody thought I
No one
was
knew what
Hawaiian."
Hawaiians were. Right.
No, no, what? And is that? I mean, that's really sad to me. You don't have people coming up to you going, "Hey," and speaking Spanish, or anything like that.
That is kind of a sad reality, actually. Depending on where you are. When I was in the West Coast, like in Utah or Arizona, they'll just assume you're Mexican, because that's what I guess the majority Hispanic culture is there. So in New York, the Puerto Rican community is huge, so they would all just automatically assume you're Puerto Rican. And there are definitely times I get spoken to in Spanish a lot, like, and I
Hmm.
kind of want to be like, ugh, I'm not, I don't speak Spanish, but at the same time, it's usually like, a grandma or somebody that's looking for directions or asking for directions, and I'm
Oh.
like sad because I don't know how to, I don't know how to tell you where to go. But yeah, so Peely's story, that's pretty accurate, as far
Hmm.
as people just, or it's either that they'll just start speaking you in Spanish, speaking you, or or they'll just like
They start speaking you. Perfect.
speaking
This
you
is
in
why they don't
Spanish,
talk to us.
or
We don't know how to speak
or
English.
or if they know you a little bit better, or you're in a situation where you might be meeting people, or what do you call those things where you mingle and meet people, networking,
Right, networking.
and they feel comfortable enough to ask you, they'll be like, what are you? Like, I see
Oh.
you may be part Asian, maybe part Hispanic or something, but
Yeah, yeah.
they're always they don't know, they're wondering, because I guess I have that very highly desired what do you call it for actors, that I guess they don't know what you are, you can be anything kind of a thing. What is
That
it
is
called? There's
true.
a specific
That
term
is
for that.
true. That is
Not
true. Like
specific.
little Pili, she literally passed as a Puerto Rican until she went back
Right.
to Hawaii, which I think was going back home. Like, and Reiko, I want to know what you think because you've actually lived on the mainland. And when you went home, did you go back home to awful pidgin? Because I know we speak pidgin in Hawaii, but we can still hold a conversation in English, and that's what I think the the misconception is. Like for Hollywood to think we only speak pidgin, I think that's such a harsh reality because it's not true. Yes, we can joke around and we can speak pidgin if we want to, but we can also hold a conversation. But for you, Reiko, you speak very well. You come from a very well educated family. She's my niece. And like, what did you think? Them going home and then going home to the pigeon and the bus up house. See, that's pigeon. Um, like, what did you think, Reiko?
Okay. As far as pigeon goes, I thought the pigeon in that movie was just really forced. Um, we are,
Super sorry.
you know, Hawaiians. Yeah, we speak pigeon, but we're very educated. We're very educated people. When I came home from the mainland, I had a very very thick mainland accent, I guess. So my pigeon didn't sound the same. I don't know if you could tell that through Alex Iono, through all of their pigeon accents. They were not. They weren't. It was just trying too much. It was trying too hard
Right,
to sound
Mhm.
local, I think.
right.
But I don't. I don't know. I don't.
And do you think going home, um, like how they were more concerned about Wi-Fi and cellular service? We literally have Wi-Fi everywhere in Hawaii. And we don't say
Yeah,
Hawaii, just so you
we're
guys know. We
still in the
actually say
bush.
Hawaii. So, but we do have Wi-Fi and we do have network. So, like even that, I think it took us down like another notch. And so they first think we don't speak English well, and then second, they we
We're
really
still third world country.
yeah, we literally have Wi-Fi everywhere. We have Starbucks everywhere. We have
Yeah.
everything everywhere.
Nope.
It's
So,
People
still
but
have
okay,
safe.
asked
I
me
but
if
mean,
what do
there's
you think about that,
McDonald's.
Reiko? Like, did you? Because you went straight home to Wi-Fi, beautiful home, beautiful beach. Like, what did you think about that part? Like, showing that part of going home.
Um, I don't really. I was kind of offended. I was a little offended the way they kind of portrayed that. Yeah, we live in these shacks. You know, everyone lives in a shack and
Yeah,
a bus. Like I've never seen an uncle have a bus in the back of his yard, like just for
never.
fun, just for shits and giggles. I've never seen that before. To hold his old knickknacks
His
paddywhack.
museum.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before. So I don't know, but I did like the part where she puts that pahu, that bucket on the cooler to get inside the bus.
Yes,
You remember that part? I kind of
yes,
had to laugh at that a little bit because I was like, everyone has one of those.
yes.
Everyone
Everyone
Mhm.
has those drums.
but we just missing the bus. Yeah, I don't know where that came from, but we was just missing that bus. But
Yeah,
yeah, it was. We come home to beauty all around us,
yes,
but it's just that's the kind of stuff that keep people thinking that we still live in grass shacks.
right.
We still walk everywhere.
Right.
Like we're part of the U.S. too
Yeah.
now, and we do have Wi. Like you said, we do have Wi-Fi. We do have all of these
We
different.
have everything.
It's just
Uh-huh.
yeah, it kind of got me a little bit. Those
Okay,
kind
so this one is for all of us. All of us. What did we think acting wise? I'm a casting director. I've done a lot of casting for films and series. Wow. I think we could have done better finding Polynesians or even Hawaiians who actually know the Hawaiian culture, know, and I know as actors you become what the character, but I'm so sorry you guys, but the acting awful.
I think
What about you guys?
my favorite too was the mom, the woman lady who played the mom, and the lady who played the friend, the girl who played the friend. Those were the only two who I thought who were
So the mom is
yeah,
Kelly Wu,
Kelly
and
Wu.
she's actually a professional theater actor, but she
Hmm.
was the one. I don't know if you guys remember in X-Men, she was Lady Deathstrike, the one that
Oh,
fought
okay.
Wolverine.
Wow.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Oh
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
yeah.
that's her. That's
Wow.
Kelly
Oh
Wu, but she
wow.
is.
Okay.
I think she's like part Hawaiian. So,
Yeah,
and
she's part
her
Hawaiian.
pigeon wasn't. It was still forced, and I don't know if
Hmm.
the director said that. So most of my beef is probably with production,
That's
but
probably the writing, yeah.
yeah, but like she spoke it a lot more lighter than Reiko's uncle Bradscombe Richmond, and so um, but
Wow.
Alex Iono. So I don't know anything about him. Do you guys know a lot about him?
I mean, he's cute or whatever, but no. He just
No.
appeared out of nowhere.
I don't know him either. And my niece Reiko said he made a name for himself doing music, and I didn't know that. So
Yeah, I remember maybe like back in 2010, maybe he started coming out with like videos on YouTube of him singing, and then he started producing his own music. So that's all I know him for.
Oh,
oh,
so
okay.
he's a YouTube star.
Hmm.
Oh, so he's a YouTube star.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. So did he go on like American Idol or anything?
I'm not too sure about that.
Oh, see, well, we don't know about you. Sorry, Alex.
Uh-huh.
We'd
Now we
love to,
do.
we don't know what you. I personally don't know what you do. Tina, you're the minority in this group. Have you heard of Alex Iono?
No.
Okay, and Tina knows every Korean singer,
No,
actor,
not really. Not
model,
really.
Really?
male,
안녕하세요.
man.
안녕하세요. Yeah.
Okay, so and so the cast was, I think they could have done better. I did like Pili. I think she was a little overacting as well. I don't know
Yeah.
her name. I didn't look her up. But I think the biggest one that is really close to home, literally, is Branscombe Richmond. So he played a Native American in the old series Renegade with Lorenzo Lamas. And I don't know if you guys remember
Hmm.
that show, but they literally just have him labeled as a Native American. He is actually Tahitian. So,
Okay.
but the sad thing is, when I was in the film world too, I was labeled as, oh, you can play this Native American role. Okay,
Hmm.
I'll do that since it's the '80s, '90s, 2000s. But so, what did you guys think of like the whole? I mean, acting. Just knowing some of the cast members and like overall, like what out of 10, what would you guys give the acting in Finding Ohana? I would personally do 4.
I would probably give it more. I mean, because Kia Pia was cute. She was cute. I mean, you can tell she didn't have much experience.
Right.
But I also just liked seeing the Jonathan K. Kwan in the movie as it had with a cameo. I mean, his was very subtle. He was in the original Goonies. So it was fun to have him like as the uncle's friend. Just popping up here and there just to add a little fun for
Oh,
us.
that's who that
Yeah.
was.
Mhm.
No, I was trying to figure out if that was
Mhm.
him or not.
Yeah, that was
So he was
him.
the one that he gave the basket.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was
Oh
Quan from the
wait,
Goonies.
Yeah.
wait, he's the one that's Data in the original
He's
Goonies.
Data.
Like Data,
Data.
Data.
And yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, wow. See,
Yeah. Definitely did not
I'm
believe that
surprised
he
they
was
didn't
the
have.
local.
See,
That's for
if this
sure.
was a good director directing this movie, they would have had him do like little trinkets or
Mhm.
gadgets, like when they borrowed the boats. Like there
Right.
was a thing that would reach out and grab the rock and pull the
Yeah.
boat in or something.
They underused him a whole bunch. They underused him. I really think.
Wow.
Um, and the fun. I think the director was Jude Wang, and the
Yes.
writers were Christina Strain, and I think she worked on Fresh Off the Boat. That
Oh,
TV series.
I
Yeah.
actually I love the acting in that.
Mm-hmm.
Fresh Off the Boat, that Chinese girl from um or she's not even Chinese. What is she? But that Asian actress. She's the one on the Crazy Rich Asians.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I love her. And then the guy is on all the Avengers. I
Mhm.
love those two. Those guys are amazing. See, why didn't y'all come do Finding Ohana?
Right? It
But
makes me
okay, so
wonder, like,
Tina,
is there such a lack for
Anthony and Reiko,
actors?
what do you guys give them for acting wise?
Oh,
1 out of 10.
well,
Maybe like a 5.5 for me.
that's kind of similar for me too. I was gonna say,
Okay.
I'm not a casting director or anything, but I just know from what I feel, like from my watching it, it didn't feel as authentic with some of them. Like definitely the guy who was the uncle's friend, who was the original Data, I did not believe he was a local, and because they talked
Right.
about going back to high school and things like that. Peely was definitely a little bit extra,
Yes.
always at 100, but maybe that works for kids movies. I don't know. Um, I mean, there's a lot of issues that come up with just, that. But I mean, as far as Kelly, who I thought she was the most natural feeling,
Mhm.
Yes.
I mean, the
Yes.
part that comes to my mind was when she was code switching at the hospital from speaking proper English to like pidgin. It was a little bit rough to start going, but then there were parts where like it was really awkward. Like for me, when they were
Yeah.
doing their little ho'oponopono with
Oh,
dad and
that was so
her,
awful. When
and I'm like,
Kelly
this is
Wu was
so
like yelling,
awkward.
"Oh, no, no, no," I was like, what?
Well, that not only that one, but the part where she was doing Ho'oponopono with her dad, and they were in the hospital, and they were like so
Yes.
emotional, like "Ekalama ya'u for leaving this," and "Ekalama ya'u for pushing you away," and I'm like, this feels very weird to me, like very personal, emotional moments that maybe we shouldn't have been part of, but it also just felt very awkward, like very forced and
Right.
uncomfortable. Like
Right.
I felt weird watching it actually. I don't know why.
Wow. Wow. And Reiko, why do you think 5.5?
Same. I really liked what you said, Anthony. I don't think Alex Iono is an actor. I really wish they did not, cast him in that role. Kelly, who I liked her. I did feel like out of everyone, she was the most natural feeling.
Uh-huh.
The just a What was I gonna say? Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Um, yeah, it just didn't feel as natural as it could have been.
Right.
Like
Right.
it really could have been better. So.
Right.
Yeah.
I
I
want
mean,
to
I
know
didn't believe
something.
even that
Yeah,
they were from New York. Sorry. I didn't
yeah.
believe that they were even from New York,
Oh
to start
no,
off. Like,
yeah.
they definitely don't seem like kids from New York for sure.
Mm.
I mean, Greenpoint, where they supposedly were from, yeah, maybe possibly it's a lot of more gentrified there. But I was like, these kids are not from New York, that's for sure.
Wow, that's awesome. So, I mean, and knowing, so that's how I think in general, a lot of people, because I've even spoken with friends from the industry who literally asked me, "Oh, you guys still speak like that? You guys still do this? You guys?" And I'm like, "No, we don't. Like, you guys have conversed with me. I am as Hawaiian as they come. I can
Speak like
converse with
cavemen,
you.
you
I
mean?
can hold a conversation. I can be just as culturally aware of who I am and where I come from." And so I think the storyline, for me, the storyline was basically, okay, we're in New York. Let's find something that makes us New York. And then we have to go home because we have to take care of our papa's land and his house and do everything. And then I'll just do, geocaching there. And then it's a whole adventure. It's a whole adventure with that pretty girl. So that girl, I don't know her name, but she was actually good, like Tina said. The girlfriend, or I guess she was the extra
Oh,
girl because there were the four of them, and that little Howley boy,
Miss
he wasn't
Watson.
bad either.
Her
I
name
was
is
like, okay,
Lindsay
so
Watson.
our non-locals
Watson.
are a lot better.
Her name is Lindsay Watson. Who
Okay,
yeah.
Lindsay Watson, is she Polynesian? Do we know?
I have not
I don't know.
seen
Okay, it's okay,
if
it's okay.
she is
But
or
I did
not.
love her. But like, did you guys like that? Because a lot of people are comparing it to Goonies, and I know a lot of us have seen Goonies.
Hmm.
I don't think this will ever reach the iconic and the cult following that
Right.
the Goonies is, but I get the
There was
adventure.
there was no chunk, no chunk, and
No
there
sloth,
was
Yeah,
there was no like
no Mikey.
antagonist.
we
There's
need more
no
characters. Yeah.
there's no real antagonist. And the what I thought was really weird in this movie was the flashback scenes.
Oh,
When
that
they
was
were
so cheesy. I think
you
they were
know
trying to make it um like just alexithymia so everyone can kind of feel relaxed like they're watching an older show, but I didn't like it.
it was
Did you guys
all
like the
like
flashbacks?
They were
Wait,
definitely they were
it was like
trying to put that trend in there, that
mm,
TikTok trend that
that drunk
you're
history
both
type
over.
thing, when
Yeah,
they doing drunk history.
it didn't fit.
Oh,
Hmm.
Yeah. But
what
yeah,
are
yeah,
what
And
are oh
you do.
oh
and
I
some of those
wasn't sure what we were
actors who are
talking about.
actually doing the flashbacks were also did drunk history. So, you know,
Yeah.
wow.
yeah. So I didn't really think that really fit because it didn't go along with the adventure. I was like, I want more adventure, swashbuckling, and throwing this in. I'm like, well, okay, comedy, lightheartedness, but
Right.
it's making people look stupid.
Say
It
it,
was
girl.
it was making people it was making people look stupid. Everybody. It was just people coming in. It was just making them look stupid.
Right.
So
Right. Right. It's
Yeah, it
it's
yeah.
seemed
I
like a
still don't think it's
washover.
going to make personally, I still don't think it's going to become a cult classic like
Mm-mm.
Goonies. So when literally people tell me they're like, "Oh, it's like a new age Goonies." No, it's not. No.
It tries.
And they're like, "Oh, but you're Hawaiian." No.
No.
No, it's not.
I feel like
They're
the
like, "Well,
only
what's
It
the
gives
time
biggest
more
thing?"
that
reason, for my
yeah.
opinion, to be valid.
Right? But I think the biggest thing I tell people, they're like, "Well, what does it make it authentic?" I was like, "The cultural. Like, we do none of that." And they're like, just, lightly waving over the bigger things that need to be, um,
Oh yeah,
talked
tons of
about.
issues.
And so, like, I did like, there were a lot of things that I did like that they acknowledged,
Hmm.
but then 90% of the rest, I was very offended by how they portrayed our culture, how they made it very, because our culture is what makes us who we are. So when you make light of that, you make light of us as a people. And that's why I'm like, no. Like,
I
I
also
find it offensive.
I also felt too like part of the movie is like it's like a white person's tourist trip to Hawaii who have not been to Hawaii. You
Yes.
know,
Yes.
it's basically that's what it's like. Okay, here you are, you're going to Hawaii, this is what you're going to find in Hawaii. It's like when they specifically went to that national park, which I don't know that national park where
Right.
where they filmed Lost. I was like, oh look, a Lost sign.
Right.
Okay, that's what I would probably do as a white tourist. Yes, but I want to know more about the national park where they were shooting in, and like how easy what it was for those kids to go in and drive a car and go into caves. Now that's a cultural thing that I want to learn more about. Is about the cave thing, guys. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, yeah. There's so much more to us than just the blanket cover
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
we get.
and that's
So, and I know
exactly what it is. And yeah,
Anthony's also a cultural specialist. He does so many
oh,
amazing things with the culture. And Reiko, like she comes from Hawaiian Tahitian descent. So like we're literally Hawaiian, like we're literally Polynesian. And and I know people are like on Facebook, they're like, "Oh, it's such a great movie." But I've talked to people in messages. Y'all know who you are. And they said they hated it. It was very offensive. So I wish our people would also step up and do what we need to do. Because Anthony, what do you think about that? Like, don't you think we should be the ones stepping up to educate now?
well, yeah. So many issues come up. You got me all over the place, like thinking so many things. But I'm like, okay, first of all, going back to the acting idea, do we not have actors in Hawaii? Do we not have Polynesian actors? Like,
We have lots.
is there a famine of Polynesian actors or people in Hawaii? I'm not
Yes,
sure about
yes,
that, but to portray these things, then also like again the story that you were talking about, like it's a complete washover, and a lot of times the way they do that in these movies where they're trying to get so many things in and wash over little cultural things and then kind of to me it trivializes it a little bit, like the whole idea of being in a kapu place. I would not even go in there even though she had done um her offering and things like that. To me, that you don't mess with those type of things, and the movie in a way kind of gives it license if you have a good reason or you think you have a good reason. Maybe in this situation, yeah, she had to get her little sister, his little sister out before she got hurt. But like,
yeah,
it doesn't leave the responsibility with the people, even with Ioane. He still wanted to take what he found, which is like another issue. Like people come in and they find things and they feel like, or they paid for
yes,
this vacation, they are entitled to do what they want and have what they want. And that's just not the case, and it's not the way that we think, in the islands. Just because you came across something or found something doesn't mean it's yours. And also the responsibility was left on the night marchers, which is it's a kind of a catch-22 because a lot of people don't believe that, or they also made it so trivial that it's not a big deal, and so the responsibility is not left with the people who should be responsible, like those who just come in and decide to do what they want or go on a tourist you know
right,
adventure, which I feel like this movie almost kind of gives more license to people come and just go on an adventure that they want, with a little bit of cultural sprinkled in. And
right,
so to me, that's kind of the frustrating thing. It doesn't really talk anything really about how it really is in Hawaii, how people really do live there, and what the situation is like from the islanders' perspective, from the locals' perspective. Again, like you were saying, it's very, again, Hollywood representation, very
yes,
kitschy, very stereotypical.
yes,
And so, like, was really hoping, though I didn't really believe it would, I was hoping that this movie would do something or shed a little more, light on that. But it does have a lot of every single issue that has always been an issue for centuries is
yeah,
still live and well in this
yeah.
movie.
See, and I get, when I have some other Kumu friends, they're like, no, we need to kuleana this. And to kuleana means to support something. And so they would say, no, we need to kuleana because it's a start. I do agree with that. I do agree that it is a start. It is a way for us. I mean, this did kind of open a couple more doors because we had Elvis first. We had Elvis, and then we had Lilo and Stitch, and then we had Moana, and now we have Finding Ohana. I would still choose Moana, but
Mm.
that's just me.
Hmm.
um, but I think my friends were right. I think we now have a bigger door for us as locals and Polynesians to start sharing what we know, because I think people are ready to listen. Like my friends who asked me questions, and they did ask me, they're like, "Oh, so when I take a puka shell, will the night marchers chase me?" Really? Really? You think? Really? Night marchers are so much more serious, like you said, Anthony, than what this film made it out to be. Um, and if people knew and taught that part, it's when people mess with culture. It's when people mess with ancestral. There's so much more to night marchers than just, oh, they took gold.
Right.
Now they're
Yeah.
making our night marchers look shallow.
Yeah. Well, and like you
Like,
said, we do need to tell our stories. We need like more artists. We need more writers. We need more actors. We need people who want to. I mean, otherwise we're just gonna sit back and watch other people keep telling their version of our stories.
yeah,
But we need
because
that.
Elvis
We
had
need the
that for a long time.
representation. You know what I mean?
It's
Um,
true.
I
So,
mean, because otherwise we
Rachel,
just
do
keep
you
getting more
like?
of these.
Go ahead.
Sorry, we
Go
just
ahead.
keep getting more of these made, not about Hawaii, but made in Hawaii, sort of
Oh, I
movies.
like that.
Yeah,
Not made about Hawaii, but made in Hawaii.
Hmm.
Oh, I like
yeah, and
that.
then they
Yeah.
misappropriate a few things to throw it in there, make it more, I don't know, exotic or exciting to
Right,
fit
right,
their
right, right.
stereotype.
Wow, that was like a mic drop moment. Flip your hair for me,
Oh,
please.
boom!
um, but Reiko, so if you were to want to watch this movie again, what are some of the things you would want them to like after all of this? Because we're going to end now, but after everything we just talked about, would you watch this again? And what would make you watch it even more the next time? Like the filming, the acting, like for you personally.
So I just tried to watch this again last night. I couldn't even sit through the first 15 minutes, Care. What would make me want to watch it again? Oh man, I can't even answer that. There's a lot that I would change in that movie. Again, I'm not a producer, I'm not a director either, but there's just a lot I wish that they did right by Kanaka, by
Yeah.
Hawaii.
Yep.
Um, like you said, there's a lot of different, more important issues that are happening here. And I saw this movie as exactly what you said, Tina. It's a tourist adventure.
Hmm.
It's something to get people to come back to Hawaii now because Hawaii thrives on tourism, and
Mhm.
because of COVID, our economy is going to shit. Like, so we need tourists. We need tourists, but do we really? Like, you also said, Anthony, we have Kanaka, we have people here who can do all of these different things. We have talented people,
Mhm.
talented, smart people here,
Tons.
and we can make it. We can. It's just a matter of who's gonna step up and do it. Yeah, like
Yep.
who's gonna step up and do it. So would I watch this? I can't watch this movie again.
Yeah. I even took it off
Um,
my list.
I really tried to. I tried to watch the movie again, but if they had put more emphasis in the people here, not so much. I'm gonna go to Hawaii to find treasure. We don't have treasure here. Yes, our caves are kapu. It is not for you to go in them. Being raised in Hawaii, we are taught that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter your curiosity. You just don't do it. Like, that's disrespect on so many levels. So, um, yeah, it was. I heard a lot of great things that people got out of this movie. As far
Yeah.
as Ho'oponopono, I gotta make things right with my family. I
Yeah.
gotta do that. Do what you gotta do, boo boo. But as far as the awkwardness in that Ho'oponopono, I was like, definitely not something that we needed to be a part
It was
of.
like
Mm.
nails.
It
Yes,
was so nails.
yes.
So nails. See that
So
pigeon,
many
y'all.
things I wish they could have done differently for people, for the Kanaka, for Hawaii.
Yeah.
And they
Mhm.
could have done
Yeah.
us a great, great deal. But like
Yes.
you said, Anthony, it's our kuleana, it's our responsibility
Yes.
to get that thing,
Yep.
to get it done. So
Yep. Wow. Yay. Thank you guys again so much for coming on our show today. I know me and Tina were talking about it, and when I told her, I was like, "Oh, I have some family and friends who want to come on," and she's like, "Oh, that's cool," because then I get to learn from that aspect, because she told me, she's like, "Oh no, I saw it from a tourist, Caucasian girl, you know, insight." So I know she was excited to kind of listen in and see how we as our people, feel
Right.
about it. And
Let me say one more thing
yes,
about Casper, the little Howler boy, and how shame that was on us that these Hawaiian kids never know as much as this little Howler boy.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Totally.
they didn't know
Yeah.
half as much as Casper knew. And I was just kind of really ashamed about that. I was like, oh, like,
Yeah.
Mama Kelly, like, what you doing in New York with your
yeah,
kids?
yeah. Wait, is his name really Casper? Or are you just saying that because he's white?
No, his name was Casper. Yeah,
Oh,
his name was
okay.
Casper.
Oh my God. I was like, girl, I'll take it.
But Uncle
That
No,
wasn't
but
Casper
that's
teach
true.
her.
Why
I
Kelly
don't.
Wu couldn't do that? Why did Kelly Wu not teach her kids? Because even when you came to Utah, you came to family. We're all still Kanaka. We're all still doing our hulas. We're all still, making our Hawaiian food. We're all still like, yeah. Yes, you're right, niece. You are so
Sorry, I
right.
had to just
Yeah,
throw that out
totally
there.
thought the same thing. I'm like, why the Holly boy gotta like teach the kids
Yeah,
about their
that
own
is so
culture?
ma. Now that you think of, oh my
Mm-mm.
God, yes, so ma that we had to have Casper teach her. Oh, so
And the
shame.
fact that his name is Casper, but sorry, we're over that part. Ohana, I guess you could have called him. I don't know.
But no, again, thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Reiko. That's true. Um Kanaka, let's rise up, ala. We gotta arise and awaken the light within and share that with everybody else. So hurry up. But thank you guys again. Thank you guys again very much for coming on. I love you, niece, and I love you, Anthony, mostly your hair. But thank you guys for coming on the show. And for everybody that watched, make sure to leave your comments below. We would love to get up in the mix with you. So, as usual, make sure to like, subscribe.
Ring the bell. You guys can point too. Let them point to wherever
I
direction
don't
they
even know
want.
where I'm pointing. Like,
All
ring
right,
my
you
bell.
guys. Thank you guys.
I
See
think
you
they
guys
do
soon and make sure to check out our other videos.
this.